Facebook and YouTube. It is so good to see you guys again here today. I don't know if we are alive at this moment. It's one of those Mondays. But in case we aren't, I did set the recording so that we can restream it afterwards. But yeah, thank you so much for being here and for tuning in and for coming to discuss a very important topic with us. Um, as you guys probably have now figured out, me and Peter have been down with COVID for the past 2 weeks. It's been an absolutely horrific experience. I'm not gonna lie. We did not enjoy that. I mean, we've been telling the people, we had COVID in January, and it was like having a bad flu. It was literally like having a bad flu, and got over that, and we were like, yay, we're done for the year, we're not doing that again, this is awesome. And then like 2 weeks ago, Peter gets this like nasal drip and cough, and all of a sudden, yeah, we're back in COVID world. um so yeah, and interestingly enough, at this point in time, you'll notice that I'm the person like messing around with the buttons, figuring out new buttons on one stream that I didn't know existed. That's because Chris, our producer of the show, his girlfriend has COVID. So he's currently looking after her and his two kids, and yeah, basically hoping that they're gonna be okay and that hopefully they don't get whatever me and Peter had, because that was just pure evil. So what I thought a lot about was all the different people that reached out to us from the tribe and the different entrepreneurs, people that have had COVID before, or that were having it at the same time as us. Like as we speaking, Karen Grief, she also let us know like she had COVID. She's like 6 days in recovering, but she's also like it was very, very bad for her, got into her chest. So I thought this is a very relevant topic. Let's talk about COVID and the impact that it actually has on the mental health of us entrepreneurs. Because I don't know about you guys, and I think most of you have had it as well, and you go through such lows while you're like lying there with all of this fever. Like it just sends you back so far, and entrepreneurship is already like such a stressful thing to be going through. And now all of a sudden, I mean, it's the increased cash flow of suddenly like all of these different medical expenses and new types of food and whatever you can do to just get better again. And then it's like the loss in the hours, because everyone says like when you get it, you basically just sleep for like 2 weeks. Like, how is your business supposed to survive that? And you're lying there and you're like, how on earth do other entrepreneurs cope with this? Like, what are the secrets? So I thought if we can just share our experiences and maybe chat about it for a bit. And if you guys want to chime in on the YouTube and the Facebook as well, get involved in the conversation. Let's just open up the conversation and see what we can discover on the impact of COVID on the mental health of entrepreneurs, and what can we possibly do to make it just a little bit better. So guys, I'm Ernestine. I'm one of the co-founders of Explore Protech Entrepreneurial Haven. You're watching the coffee shop conversation show for entrepreneurs. On the show, I have some of the most amazing entrepreneurs in the world with me. We're going to be having a conversation for the next just about hour with you guys. This is a space that we've created where entrepreneurs from around the world can tune in and connect and talk about things that really actually matter. And we can just share, connect and share, grow together, build together. That's what we are for. So if you're tuned in with us today, welcome. I hope you're going to enjoy it. Get involved in the conversation. And the way this works is my beautiful tribe members on the screen are going to put their hearts up on the screen if they have something to say, add to the conversation. And it's literally like we're going into a coffee shop together, just our entrepreneurs. These are your best friends in the world, except they're all entrepreneurs just like you. And we're just going to chat. Okay, so it's going to be a fun hour. So tribe members, hearts up. I know you guys have so much to say on this topic. So Who's gonna go first? Okay, Mr. Levy, let's cue you in. What do you have to say about COVID-19 and the impact that it has on the mental health of entrepreneurs?
Okay, well, here comes this supplies. I've got things I would like to add, but before I do, I haven't had touch with COVID. So I've been blessed with that. Well, I don't think so. I might have had it, but not to the extent. But I would like to see that you and Peter have just had it. I'd like to ask you to share your experiences on the mental health and the impact of COVID on entrepreneurs, because you've actually been through it. So I'd love to hear your story, and then I'll chat later.
Thanks so much, Stephen. Okay, so I'll tell you guys a little bit more about our story. Um, yeah, Peter got a nasal drip, allergies. So we went to the local doctor, and she just prescribed him things for allergies, and it was so bad. He was coughing so much that I had to have anti-inflammatory medication because he actually hurt his stomach muscles coughing the whole time. So she gave us that. I think at that point in time it was allergies. But then after we came back from that visit to the doctor, everything just got so much worse. He developed a fever of like ridiculous. I don't even know how high it was, but he was sweating, confused, not really with it. Um, and all of the time it's the coughing and the chest is getting worse and the nasal drip and everything. So that's quite scary. So I think that was the first piece of the experience that kind of hit me because at that point in time I was still fine. But to see someone that you love and you're supposed to care for go through that, and you're not exactly sure what are you supposed to do to make it better, how do you take care of this person? I mean, technically, there's nothing we can give him. There's no medicine that will really, cure this. There's no cure at the moment, so that's quite scary. I mean, if you have flu, you take antibiotics, and you're like, okay, fine. But yeah, so that was quite scary. And then we had the trip to the hospital, which was also quite scary, and for his chest, because his chest had closed up so much. And I actually had to fight with him just to get him to go to the hospital. That's another thing, and all the while I'm juggling work and teaching and all the normal stuff and the shows and the networking events and everything, and still taking care of my business partner who is now just basically like zero on a contract. Like he's basically just sweating for a living now. And then the worst thing happens. This is the next thing about COVID. It's so freaking contagious. So like 4 days, I think 4 days after Peter got like violently ill with this hectic fever, I wake up and I wake up the first day with just a bit of an irritation in my throat, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is not great. And that was on the second day of the Global Evolution of Business Summit, right? So now we have this massive networking event tonight, and Peter's man down. I now have this thing in my throat, and I have to say, like, for me, that is when I got so thankful. Like, that's where the tribe really came in for me. Because I have to say, people contacted us and they were like, what do you guys need? Brian, he's such a sweetheart. He sent us like this whole info sheet on step 1, step 2, step 3. Do this, you'll be fine. Somerville sent us a list of things that we need to do. Like, we got soup recipes from people in the tribe. People actually offered to come drop off, medicine and food, and they were like, whatever you need, because now you can't even go out, to kind of take care of yourself. You have to quarantine. So, and the tribe, they literally just stepped in and they basically ran the summit. They ran the event. Chris Colby stepped in and we was the masters of ceremonies. Megan Diaz, she's the director of the Global Online Speed Networking. She was like, just running the event, getting the hosts together, making sure everything goes smoothly. And everyone in the tribe, they were just really, really, really supportive and really, really there for us. So, but that's when I was thinking, like, even with all of the support, you still start thinking, you're like, oh my gosh, like technically now I haven't worked in like 10 days and I still don't feel like I can actually get up and do something because I'm so sick. And it's just, it starts playing these mind games with you where you get stuck in like this what if loop, and everything just gets real bleak real quick. So that's my experience. And that's also where, I mean, we had like Mr. Stephen Levy calling us. He's like, are you guys okay? Like every second day, what can I do? You're gonna be fine. Everyone on the group, are you guys okay? Like messaging every day, like this is what we can do. Like just take care of you. You're gonna be fine. It's gonna be okay. You're just a little sick. You're gonna get better. That was so special. So thanks for asking, Mr. Levy. That was like a first-hand encounter of my entrepreneurial experience with COVID-19. And it really, like physically it hit me hard, but mentally I think it hit me a little bit harder, which is why I thought this would be such a great conversation to have with other entrepreneurs. And I don't know, Mr. Levy, maybe you have to share with us, what did you do? How on earth have you not had COVID?
I don't think your readers will. They can, your readers, listen to me. I'll probably have COVID. Your listeners or your viewers should take this, but I don't know, Ernestine. I don't understand this whole COVID thing enough to make comment on that. I suppose the word lucky comes to mind. And the other thing that I do differently, I think, to anyone else is I drink more brandy and Coke than anyone else. So maybe it was that vitamin, that brandy. So the only things I do, I try to keep healthy. But, I've learned from friends of mine that have had COVID that are super healthy and fit. They had it. Two of them went into hospital. They're good runners. They keep generally fit. So the takeouts from that and listening to you today, because you've actually experienced it, was that I think it's very important. It's something that's out of our control. So we need to understand that. And you made a statement just now. You said what went through your mind mentally was you went through this what if loop. And it was quite interesting because I did a post last Monday about what if, and maybe we should change it to what can I do, because the what if it's out of your control. And it's probably easier said than done. You would have to comment on that because I haven't experienced it, but I think that stands out for me. I think as entrepreneurs, we need to keep ourselves healthy. It doesn't mean that we won't get COVID. I think, as I mentioned about my colleagues, they were in hospital. The one said to me, he said he thought that was it. He was going to go. So the question to me was not that if you're healthy, you won't get it, but I think if you're healthy, generally, it'll help you maybe fight it more. So maybe you won't really suffer the mortality of, and I say that with utmost respect to those people that have. I think it also I think COVID made us realize that we are mere mortals. We're not immortal, and we must actually take cognizance of that as entrepreneurs in our businesses. And there's that famous, we're all guilty of this, I think, that we don't have enough time for ourselves. I think we need to make that. We are the decision makers. We make critical decisions, whether you're leading yourself, whether you're leading teams. We're all leaders. You're leading yourself, you're leading teams, you're leading your family. You do have an impact on others. So it's important to look after yourselves. And what happens from there is, as I said, beyond your control. If we look after ourselves mentally and physically, something came up for me. I was chatting to my wife and she was talking about not accountability, but bounceability. How quickly can we bounce back? No, not in that sense, Christine. And how quickly can we bounce back? So, and that was like, that actually stood out to me. I thought, I think we just got to be prepared for it. I would imagine, like with you, that it distracts you also. The mental implications of COVID must certainly distract you from the daily routines of running your business. And so we have to make sure that we're agile enough. You mentioned something important. If you're not a solopreneur, what do you have? Maybe we need to ask ourselves that question, and maybe the what if comes in there is, what if I'm out of work for 10 days? What happens to the business? And we don't have to employ those people directly. We can, and I think this is what you always aspire to, and Christine is saying, is in the networking, collaborate, have this team around you that can step in and maybe look after your business for 10 days or 2 weeks or whatever it is. So maybe we all need to give a good rethink to that. Because you experienced it and you did it. So thanks so much for sharing that with us. And yeah, other than that, I don't really have much to add besides that we need to give, COVID has forced us to give this serious thought to how we operate as entrepreneurs in our business. So that's Stephen from Dare to Be Coaching and Beyond.
Thank you so much, Mr. Levy. Some very, very awesome words of wisdom there. I love that. Yeah, and I mean, you're the person that basically we built this business on, and you're the person that told us how to form teams and have leaders in place. And I'm so glad that you did, because literally when I was like, I'm not even getting up, like I had moments where I planned to do meetings, like, and then like a half an hour before the meeting, I'm like looking at that calendar, I'm like, I can't do it. Like, I will die if I even just have to speak to someone on Zoom right now. And I'm like, Chris, hey, buddy. And Chris is like, don't worry about it. You know, I got this. And I'm like, Marlon, like, I know you're only guest lecturing my class on Saturday, but you're going up solo. And he's like, that's fine. I got this. You just get better. I mean, that made such a freaking world of difference. And that's really my hope for everyone in the tribe, is that they're actively looking for those relationships where they can pull people in when they need them, like this, because I feel like that's so important. But yeah, let me stop talking. Brian, let's move over to you, because I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
First of all, I'm really happy to see that you guys are on the mend. Sounds, now that I know a little bit more about your story, sounds pretty, it can be scary. Like what happened for myself was my only out, because I'm always at home, my only outlet to potentially being exposed was through my family. So our story was my son plays rep hockey, and everyone was getting ready for this tournament coming up on the weekend. So, you know, I was taking extra time tucking him, because I wasn't going to go with them. My wife was going to go with him. And I was taking extra time at night, tucking him in and snuggling with him during the week, because I knew I wasn't going to see him on the weekend. Not realizing that the boys on the team, it was passing through, COVID was passing through the team. We didn't find out till the Friday before. There were some coaches already at the hotel in Windsor, like 4 hours away, having beers, waiting for, you know, everyone to arrive the next day. And then someone said, our son just tested positive, right? So we're like, okay, everyone shut her down. And we all went in and got tested and stuff. My wife and I tested negative at first, but in conversation with some of the other parents, one of them was saying that about 7 days after your exposure, you're likely to maybe show symptoms. So I realized that I was exposed probably to my son, who did test positive, but these kids, he's 11 years old, he had a headache for 2 days and it was over, right? And then when I got it, I was like, the day before, I was like, something doesn't feel right. So I just started slowly like separating myself from my family. And then it was this feeling like, I think I have this. We got to retest again. And it was one of those, here we go. dance with the devil. Let's see how I'm going to make out here. Right? So, because you hear stories. My worst story was a client. She was in the hospital for a month, and she was on the vent and sedated for 3 weeks, and she's got to do rehab and stuff. So it was scary, right? She said, Brian, I think I was crossing over for 5 seconds there until the medic grabbed me and shook me, right? So it's different for everybody, and we don't know until we get that opportunity, I guess. So I have a ton of resources. I called my friend right away who has that protocol that I sent you. I said, I don't care if my government doesn't agree with this. I'm just going to do whatever I need to do to get better. I did, following the science and what I've learned from people around me and everything I've been learning, as early as you can attack it with anything you can, the better it's going to be, and to stay the hell out of the hospital if you can't, right? So I decided, okay, I'm going to do this. My neighbor ran out, got the products for me, supplements and everything, and I just started going crazy. So the quarantine ended up being down here, with my son. We binge watched animated movies and stuff like that, and so there's some wins to it. But the mental health piece, I've had worse flus. I would say, from what I've been hearing, for me it was relatively mild. I was able to still work. I was working online, but I'd be like in a cocoon till right before the session, and then I just, all right, take the blanket off, and then just do my hour with the client, and then go back on the couch, right? So I was able to keep my clients going, but it was really any extra work on my business, it was not happening. And I went from, because we were already in a lockdown in our neighborhood, in our area. So I went from lockdown, which is like I call jail, to like the hole in jail. So it was tougher to kind of like just be in one space all the time and feel like I don't want to get my wife sick, because she was still going to work every day and stuff. So there's so many different things on your head that you're thinking about, right? But in the most of it for me was about 5 days, but the mental part of it lasted for weeks, even out of quarantine, just sort of recovering my business, realizing how vulnerable my business still is. I was listening to Steve there just now. I'm thinking, what is the financial impact of however time frame? Like how sick or how out of it can you be before it's a big problem? Right? How many months can you go? Right? All those questions started coming up in my head. I'm like, wow, I have work to do. Right? So the first quarter was a really slow start, coming back from that, because that was in December, just before Christmas. And it was, it took me a while to get my momentum going again. Everyone's experienced, like when you're starting up a business, right? Like it takes so much power. It's like trying to launch a space shuttle, right? It's so much effort to get things going, and momentum and acceleration, and then to stop unplanned, right? And have to do that all over again. And it's not like I'm going from my quarantine to like freedom. I'm going from quarantine to still a lockdown. So there's not a lot of face-to-face networking happening or anything else to do, right? So I'm still not encountering with people, like how you need to be around physical people all the time and stuff. So there's so many things that still were at play for us until like probably late, probably like early spring. So it's surround yourself with people that not only can support you and have open conversations with, but one thing I learned towards the end of that was it's very important also with the matters we don't have control over, whether it be COVID or COVID politics or COVID mandates or whatever it is, whatever we don't have control over, we can chat about it a little bit, but you don't want to ruminate and fester over it, dwell over it for too long, because it'll just bury you and you won't be able to focus on your business. I went through that. You won't. So I started like shifting conversations with my friends to like, what are we going to do? What happens next? What do we have control over? And the rest, just put it aside and just keep charging forward. So that became the part that kind of got me out of that funk. And then I just started creating things again. So I guess a good recommendation I can give to people is be as informed as possible, but at the same time, don't dwell or ruminate over things you don't have control over, because it'll drive you crazy. It totally drove me crazy. So yeah, that's what I could share for now. I guess it's scary. Like, our health has been more than ever. It's been showing as obviously a very significant part of our success, right? And it's also inspired what we're working on with, Life Force, the Thrive team. Like, we're working on, we are the asset here, so we need to be able to show up. And if we break down, until we have things in place, people to step in, that sort of thing, it's on us. Buck stops at us, right? So yeah, that's what I could share for now.
Thank you so much for sharing, Brian. I love that. I have to tell you, one of the things that actually got me through this COVID period, and I'm not even joking, was I remembered, because I was there when you had your COVID. And I remembered how much of a mental challenge you went through. And I mean, at that moment in time, I don't think I totally got it. But when I was now going through this, my first reaction is like, Nistine, like, seriously, like, you've been through worse, like, but it took such a strain on me mentally, and I was like, that was what Brian, but because I knew like you went through it too, and because we can have this like open conversation, that kind of made me feel better. It's like, maybe this is normal, maybe this is okay. Brian's very happy right now. I mean, I watched you online on this show and like doing your stuff and just like shining and sparkling, and I'm like, maybe I'm also gonna be okay. So, yeah, no, I think this is very healthy as well, sharing all of this. Darlene, you also had your heart up. Are you coming into the conversation?
I had my heart up because I liked what was being said. But I can also, yes, I did. I had COVID. And so at the beginning of the year, I was really sick, but I tested negative. And then at the end of January, I did end up getting COVID. And I think from then on up until, I don't know, and I'm hoping as of today, I'm done everything. Because I had all these different pains and well, I had pain before that. So I had other health issues. And it's so many times I felt like giving up, like, I don't, this scam prevention is not going anywhere. I'm not making any money, so it doesn't matter if I quit. But then I just feel like there's so much that it does need to be out there, because people are still getting scammed and people are still, it's still happening. But I'm one of those ones who are, when I'm sick, I just want to be by myself and I just want everybody to leave me alone. And so, and that's why, I wanted to be part of things, but I didn't want to be part of things. And so that's why lots of times I would just listen to a lot of the shows on YouTube, was because I just, it's really tiring. It was really tiring. But then after a while, I thought, am I tired or am I just lazy? And so then I just started being more negative on myself and thinking, well, I'm just lazy and I don't feel like doing it. And so then it kind of gets, and then you start feeling better, but then you're still feeling lazy. So I don't know. I'm still in the I don't know stage. Dang it, I'm back on track today, though.
That's awesome, darling. It's so nice to have you here with your sunshiny laugh and everything. And I mean, I can totally relate to that as well. I think it's such a good conversation to have, because I also, like, I think I was like down, slept for like 2 days, because I have this thing. When I get sick, I'm like, I'll just sleep, and I know, like, sleep for like 2 days and then I'm back, I sleep and I eat a lot. I just force myself to eat, like, even if I don't want to, like, soups, and just keep yourself healthy. And then by day 2, obviously, with this COVID, I was freaking down for, like, I think 9 days. And, like, I think after day 2, I was like, Nistine, you are so lazy. You're one of the laziest entrepreneurs in the world. How do you think we're going to pay the bills at the end of the month if you don't come out of this? So it makes me feel so much better. Like, I mean, obviously, if you say it out like that, you're like, yeah, maybe you weren't lazy. Maybe you were just really sick, you know? But at that point in time, it's like Brian says, you get so into your head that just, it just becomes your reality. I also want to give a shout out to Russian Concussion watching us on YouTube right now. Also, he says like he could totally relate. He says the quarantine does have a gift that went hugely unnoticed. With less external things to do, it forced people to face their own issues and even sped up things that may have taken them years to face. He says, for me, I began drinking more and isolating and ran into my issues a lot faster than if I had outside distractions. So, I mean, I guess that's also true, right? It forces us to kind of come to face with all of these things that we can usually just run from and distract ourselves from. Permelia, you also had your heart up. Are you coming into this conversation?
Yes, thank you. So I really certainly agree with what everybody's said so far. I think as entrepreneurs, we kind of jump into our business and we just do. And oftentimes we kind of take it for granted because we're entrepreneurs. So, we've got the mental capability, we've got the physical capability, we're excited about what our business is about, so we just get on with it and do it, and I think it's so important, what both everybody has said today, is to have not only be as physically healthy as we possibly can be, and I've got a couple of ideas if people haven't heard of this before, but also be as mentally healthy as we possibly can be. And the mental health, I really truly believe, is having people around you and available that you can rely on, and you can say, hey, I'm out for the count. Now I'm very fortunate. I have not had COVID. I think I mentioned when we were chatting earlier, that I had a bad cold in January, and my daughter thought I had COVID. Those are the symptoms, Mom. But I'm like, well, I didn't get tested. My husband didn't get sick. We weren't out and about much anyway back in January in Canada. We were still locked down. So I think it's really important as entrepreneurs for us to put those pieces into place, to realize that we can be vulnerable, especially when we get physically ill. So, I mean, to have Explore Protect as a tribe to be able to assist, but also things like a virtual assistant. Perhaps we should be a little bit more, oh, well, I could do this myself, but when you're sick and you've got a fever, I'm like you, Nastine. All I do when I'm sick is go to bed for 2 days and sleep. And then I can come out of it and I'm usually okay. So I think physically, to be very, very cautious about how physically you're healthy. There's a couple of minerals that I take on a regular basis every day. So one's called quercetin. I don't know if anybody's heard of that. I hadn't heard of it, but my chiropractor told me about it. So it's QUERCITEN, I think, or CETIN, called quercetin. So what quercetin does, and there's some foods that has quercetin in it. So what the quercetin does is it keeps the inside of the cells healthy. Now, I've also taken zinc for many, many years, and what my chiropractor said, that was good. But what zinc does is it keeps the outside of the cells healthy. So if you've got the combination of the quercetin keeping the inside of the cells healthy and the zinc keeping the outside of the cells healthy, that, I believe, certainly with the work that I do, is to keep your immune system as healthy as possible. And then when your immune system is healthy, you can fight off any kind of virus that's coming along. Also, mentally, I know it can drain people. I've heard that before from other people, how they're in like a mental fog. They're like brain fog for 2 weeks or whatever. And I think some of it is you just have to say, okay, it's here. I need to get better. So whatever I need to do, I'll do. But I totally agree with what Brian said. Don't get into that hamster wheel, because that's called the law of attraction. The more negative vibrations you give out is the negative vibrations you're going to get back. So if you go, okay, this is here, it's just now, I need to get better. And then and I will be better, and just keep telling yourself that mentally that it's only for a short time. It's not for a long time. So I think that's it.
Thank you so much, Permelia. And that's Permelia Parham from
Yes,
Vibrational
Permelia
Healing.
Parham, Vibrational Healing. I'm a certified body code and emotion code practitioner.
Amazing. That's real, and it's so helpful. I've heard of zinc, but not the Corsican. I didn't know of that. So I'm definitely gonna see if I can get my hands on some of that.
I will put I'll put the spelling of it in the chat, unless Brian knows the spelling right off the top, because he said that was part of the protocol that he was using.
Oh, that would be
I've heard of keeping
amazing.
the inside of your cells healthy. I've never heard of that before.
I hadn't heard of that either, but I started doing this. Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Brian. I started doing this last year, like almost a year ago, that I started taking the quercetin with the zinc, as well as vitamin D. Vitamin D is huge. So I take a lot of vitamin D as well. So, and vitamin C. Like I have all these capsules that I put into this really good water every morning and mix it up, and it's my little. It's I don't call it a shake because it's just all my vitamins and minerals, but I don't swallow pills very well, so I put it all into a liquid. Makes it go down easier.
That is such a good tip, because I cannot for the life of me get Peter to swallow capsules. He hates it. So now I know I'm going to make him like a liquidized shake with all of the vitamin C in there.
It's just all my vitamins and minerals. And I have one of those little hand, well, it's not a hand, it's electric, but it's just, it's not really a full on mix master, whatever you want to call it. So it's just a little hand, and it just whips everything all together, and then you just drink it.
That is a very interesting approach. I've never known of that. One of the other things that I kind of use that I don't know if you guys have any tips on this, but like meditation. Because at one point in time I was like, I'm pretty sure like I'm mentally at that point where I need something. I need a mental health supplement right now. But I actually thought of you, Pamelia. I was like, you're a healer. Like surely you could heal me, but I don't know why I didn't reach out. But you guys, I don't know, but I did think of you, and I was like, if anyone would know, probably be Amelia that can tell me. But do you guys have any suggestions on meditation type things, or like resources that we can maybe have a look at, things that have worked for you?
Well, if you have not, it's everybody's different when it comes to meditation, but there's a few things that you can just find and put your earphones in your ear, either from your phone or your tablet. You don't need to actually have a CD. So as long as you've got really calming music, or I have a friend who does breath work, and so she kind of talks about the breath work, which is part of the meditation. Just something that will help you kind of calm yourself down. And it's really important also, I believe, because this is the work that I do, to be aware of what emotions that you've had. You've gone through a lot, Nastine. You and Peter have gone through a lot in the last couple of weeks. So to be aware of what those emotions are, they may be like added on to previous emotions that you've had that were in your subconscious that need to be released and cleared. So yeah, you and I should have a little chat, and I can explain it in more detail.
Yeah, I would love that. That would be amazing. Totally love that. And I love all of these suggestions that you guys are putting in the chat as well. I think what we should do is if you have resources, um, and you maybe have the link somewhere, but you can't find it right now, go back to this YouTube video afterwards and just pop it in the comments with the links. And then we can kind of collate all of these different resources. So if some of our tribe members or entrepreneurs are getting sick and they may be like in the boat now, like Chris, where they're like not yet sick, then they at least know, okay, I can just go here and like step one, step two, and here's some things I can listen to. I mean, I didn't even know that there was something like sound meditation, but that sounds quite cool. I tried, Brian, I also thought of you. I did like there was like distance Reiki videos that I'll also link in the channel that I found, which was pretty cool. I was like, oh, this is the stuff that Brian's been going on about. And those things actually work because they made me feel, I guess, more connected and less isolated also. So that was really interesting. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys have any other resources or tips, or maybe let's do that. Let's think of the people that are now like Chris. Oh, this will be really cool. Let's quickly go around the table and we all give like Chris our best advice. Like, you know, Lucia, his partner, she now has COVID. He has two little kids that he's taking care of. He's an entrepreneur, right? And he's probably gonna get sick. I mean, maybe he doesn't, but like, let's face it, it's COVID, you know? So, what's your best advice? Like, what do? You're like, okay, I want you to look into the camera and go like, okay, Chris, buddy, pal, step one, step two, step three. Let's go around the table. I think that'll be really amazing. Who's game? Okay, Brian, you look very enthusiastic. Are you gonna kick this off?
Yeah, Chris, assume you've been exposed. So as much as you're taking care of your family, you want to make sure you're getting rest, hydrated, stay calm, breathe, meditate, do the things that you need to do as well, especially if you're the caregiver, but also you want to keep your stress low, right? I can share all the information that he might need for like the protocols, but pretty much the protocols too, like vitamin D, zinc, you know, vitamin C, that sort of stuff. You might as well load up now and build your immune system. The immune system's like, it's a magical thing that you give it what it needs, it does its work, right? So I wrote down in my notes before the call today too, like just apply what already works, like in just general health practices, like I mentioned before, the sleep, hydration, exercise. One thing about exercise, as Steve mentioned, some of his people that are very athletic and very you know, fit. Some people I found that I knew that are quite fit, but train really hard. Like if I did a 45-minute CrossFit workout and then at the gym, I was actually exposed to COVID, right? I'm now leaving the gym extremely compromised from that workout. So that the virus is going to pummel me even more because I just buried myself in the workout. So one thing I did was I dialed back how hard I was training when it was really in the beginning, when we didn't know what was going to happen, right? So manage your resources because you need reserves. Just like in business, you need reserves. You need an extra 3 to 6 months. You need reserves in your health in case you do get exposed. So when it's around you, just stay in that really low stress, relaxed state so your body can do what it does. So that's the recommendation I can give. And reach out. We're here. Don't do this alone. That's what I could share.
Love that. Thank you so much, Brian. And I mean, like, if I had this going into this, you know, a video like this that I could come to, like, I would just feel so loved. And like, you just like, okay, I'm gonna just take this advice. Let me just execute it. So, guys, even if you're like going to this video after the show, if you're a tribe member or just an entrepreneur, go and drop your best tips for our entrepreneurs that might have COVID or that might be worried about getting it, go and drop it into the comments. Let's make a whole bunch of resources. If you have links to resources, put it in here. Let's save the global economy one small business at a time. Permelia, you're up next. Let's go. What advice do you have for Chris?
So, Chris, listen to me. I'm a mom, and I know that you are going to need help and you're going to need assistance. And so, to add to what Brian said, make sure that you have help. You may get sick before your partner gets well. So now who's going to look after the children? So I'm speaking with a grandma's hat, even though I'm not a grandma yet. But I'm just saying, make sure that you've got your support ready and waiting in the wings, just kind of waiting in the wings, ready to support you if you and your partner both come down with this virus, so that and yes, try not to be stressed. Try to do all the little pieces that we mentioned earlier to reduce your stress, because I think that the stress actually makes the virus worse. So that's my advice. And I'm going to check up on you and make sure you're following it.
You got a mom on your case now, Chris. I'm sorry, not sorry. I love that. That's beautiful. Thank you, Permelia. Okay, shall we go to Mr. Levy next? Mr. Levy, what is your best advice for Chris?
Yeah, I want to say to Chris, don't assume, because I think Chris's partner is, or fiance is Lucia. Don't assume because she's got it that you will get it. The chances are you might. But I think rather focus on what you can, instead of focusing on thinking that you might get it, focus on what you can do for her. But I'm going to latch on to what Pamelia said and make sure that you also look after yourself. It's vitally important to your kids and your family and your business. So don't forget about you in service of looking after them. It's not a guilt thing, and it's not a selfish thing. In fact, it would be selfish if you didn't look after yourself. That's my opinion. So you cannot take care of people when you are down in the hole as well. So yeah, just do it. It's not easy. And I think there's a big message here. I want to shift a little bit outside of COVID and come back to, I think Brian or Pamelia said this, is I think COVID has accelerated all these things. What we're talking about now, we should be doing or should have been doing before COVID, but we haven't. And nothing forced us to do this. So the things we're talking about now, we should take in daily practice, COVID, no COVID, into our businesses. You know, I did it in 1995. I went close to burnout, and I distinctly remember the psychologist saying to me, all these people that you tell me you're working so hard for, where you're close to going into hospital, that you want to take care of, how are you going to take care of them if you're in hospital? And she said to me, so you better start looking after yourself. I'm telling you right now. Otherwise, you're not going to look after them. So I think COVID has just accelerated or made us become more aware of, and I think Brian put in the chat boxes about take time out also to love yourself. And then the meditation to Chris, do what you feel is right for you. Meditation doesn't always have to take the form of soft music, or do what works for you. But just look after yourself, my friend. And if you need help, the tribe is here. And that's what came out really strongly tonight and over the last 2 years is the power of the importance of networking. It showed itself in COVID. So don't stop networking, Chris. And take care. And we wish Lucia a speedy recovery. She will recover.
Thank you so much, Mr. Levy. It's really beautiful. And I like, yeah, do what works for you, but do something. Something works for you. Make time to do it. Darlene, let's go to you. What advice do you have for Chris?
I'm just typing it in the chat box right now. I'm writing in, don't go it alone, because then you do get, you just stay within that issues of being sick, and you don't know, you don't have that positive kind of reinforcement to help you do things to help yourself. Things like staying hydrated, make sure that you do stay hydrated. Is that water that they call Pedialyte for kids, but it has electrolytes. That's what it was. Drink stuff that has electrolytes in it. Someone told me that drinking water with just a pinch of the Himalayan salt and lemon is really good for staying hydrated. And Chris, do ask for help. I know sometimes you don't like to do that. So do ask for help. And that doesn't mean the poo do, it means do. And eat healthy and try that. What's it called? The quercetin?
The concertina thing.
Yeah.
Quercetin.
Quercetin, yeah.
Quercetin.
Keep your
And
cells
zinc.
healthy on the inside.
Yeah.
And zinc
Quercetin and zinc.
Yeah. And zinc for cells healthy on the outside. I'm going to try it. So, Chris, if the people around you that are living at, with you, even the children, ask them to help with doing stuff around the house. They're perfectly capable, even if they're 2 and 3 years old. They can stop. I don't know how old the children are with you, Chris, but 2 and 3-year-olds, they can, sometimes
Yeah, they're around that age.
yeah, like their laughter is definitely the best medicine. So I think that, and ask people to pray for you. I have to put that there, and I will definitely be praying for you, Chris, and your family.
Thank you so much, Darlene. That's very, very sweet. That's awesome. Guys, I love all of you so much. I think this video is really going to help a lot of entrepreneurs out there, even if it's just to make them realize, like, you're not the only person in the world going through this, and we're all there for you. We're all a group of entrepreneurs. We have each other's backs. If you feel like you need your back to be had, we can have yours too. But you have to reach out. You have to come and talk to us. Even if you just come to the coffee shop show, on a Monday. It's every single Monday for a whole hour. We just here. We're all entrepreneurs. And you just speak up and you're like, I want to talk about this today. And we'll chat with you about that, and we'll see if we can make it better. And it's most likely that you're not the only entrepreneur in the world going through this right now. So there's a lot of healing to be had from having conversations like this. Guys, I enjoyed this so much. Mr. Levy.
Christine, yeah, I just wanted to say to your viewers, and you said there is one guy that we don't know that's on YouTube and watching us, but for me, it just shows exactly what Explore Protect stands for, and we've often spoken about this: is don't come into the networking trying to sell your services. Don't come here with the sole idea of generating revenue. You can see it goes far beyond that. People will help you in your business, not necessarily by buying your services or your product, but what we're talking about now has highlighted that networking is more than just, oh, I got so much business, or I didn't get enough referrals or business from this network, so it's no good. Here are the other implications of networking and the benefits and the power of networking. And from that, business will come. And that's that coffee first, business later is so true. So networking is a lot deeper, and I think Explore Protect actually live that. And it can do wonders for your business. And
Thank
you
you
as a
so
person, you are the
much.
business. So
Thank you so much, Mr.
it was
Levy.
highlighted tonight.
Beautiful. So now, if you're an entrepreneur anywhere in the world right now, you don't have an excuse. You're not alone. Because we're right here with you. We're going to continue showing up every single week for at least an hour in your face. You can't say you're alone anymore because you're not. So, guys, I absolutely adored this conversation. Thank you so much to all of our beautiful guests that have been here with us. Thank you for everyone watching on the live. Thank you for everyone that's still going to be watching this episode, sharing it, adding your 10 cents, your resources, your links, everything in there. Let's just see how many entrepreneurs we can help. I think I'm going to send an email out right now, just asking everyone, like, if you have a resource for recovering from COVID or anything to do with that, like, or mental health, just pop it into the comments on this show, and we'll see if we can send this as far and wide as possible, help as many people as possible. You guys have been absolutely amazing. Guys, if you vibed with anyone that was on the show today, or you want to find out more about them, you want to connect, maybe you might want to make friends, or maybe you need someone that's in their field of work, I'm going to be putting all the LinkedIn links for everybody in the description right after the show. You'll be able to connect with them straight on LinkedIn. Just send them a message. I saw you on the coffee shop show. I'd love to have a coffee. That's all you have to say. And you're literally just like that connected with some of the best entrepreneurs in the world. So, Tribe members, everyone watching, thank you so much for joining us again today. We love you. And may all your wildest entrepreneurial dreams come true. And we'll see you again, same time, same place next week. Ciao for now.